Hey brother, where you at? How are you doing today, brother?
All good, all good. How are you?
Doing good, man, doing good. So he's here to share a couple of words. We're here to ask him some questions. We're here to have a good time. So please tell us what it is that you do.
So I fight for the legalization of the cannabis plant. I started the movement called the Great Legalization Movement India back in 2014, and we've been educating the entire country about the benefits of the cannabis plant, about the personal uses, about the medicinal benefits, about the industrial benefits, about the farmers' well-being if they're able to grow this plant, use this plant, and how this has such an immense application when it comes to using it as a medicine, for which we do not have readily available cures in the allopathic system, but all of this is found in the cannabis plant, but the government has somehow found a way to take this away from our society and then lock it away for good. And not just that, they can even arrest people for using a plant that is being given to us by Mother Nature. So I fight for the plant, and in that spirit also we did a lot of projects over the last 6 years to bring this plant back to the people.
So tell us a little bit about, how the plant, not just medicinally, but how else could you use hemp? How else could you use, the cannabis sativa plant? Is the mic on? Excuse me, mic.
So yeah, what was your question?
Application, how do you use the plant? Explain how it's medicinal.
So the plant is a very robust and very diverse. It's got like diverse applications. Firstly, it's got the stalks.
Check.
So the stalks has a lot of industrial benefits and applications, and then comes the flowers, which has all of the medicinal compounds, which when we take either by smoking it or cooking with it or eating it or making oil from it and then consuming it, all these medicinal compounds are going to have an immense effect on the body, and it's going to get rid of most of our diseases which is in our body and also in our mind. So that's the flowers. Then the seeds are extremely nutritious, one of the most nutritious food product that we can actually consume. It's completely well balanced, not like the rice which is too much carbs or something else. It's one of the highest protein source in the entire plant kingdom.
That's a fact.
So yeah, so pretty much like that.
Yeah, so now you know it's got uses. But you know what? We gotta know, why is it illegal? Why is it that the government go ahead and makes it illegal? There's gotta be some reason, Moms and dads out here must be questioning, be like, I don't know if I want my kid to be touching this stuff, How would you, explain that to someone like that?
Well, would you want your kid to be touching alcohol instead?
I'm not the parent, but
Would you like your kids to be, like addicted to a lot of other things, a lot of harder drugs? But cannabis is completely safe, like the parents
Right.
is something. They don't need to be worried about cannabis in any way because it's been used for thousands of years, like it's been used, one of the most oldest used herb and one of the most ancient drugs, like that's being consumed by humans, and practically zero death in the entire history of mankind, like 10,000 years of recorded history, and no one gets impacted or affected by cannabis in a very bad way.
Sure. I'm
But
asking
the
tough
reason why,
questions.
but the reason why it's prohibited is because of propaganda.
So tell us a bit about the propaganda.
So I believe most of you guys who use cannabis here, they must be knowing about this already. But like most of the thing about prohibition and the locking away of the plant comes from America. Actually, they were the ones who started the thing called the war on drugs. And they wanted to take this plant away for a very specific reason, because it pretty much cures most of the diseases that humans suffer from. Also, like for example, like if it brings people together. It unites people.
It unites.
And it makes people think. It
Snoop
makes people
Dogg.
creative. And it gives them intense amount of energy and this warrior spirit and other things. And these are all the things that is fundamentally against the world that they wanted to build.
Right.
So they found a very wicked way of prohibiting this plant by calling it as marijuana for the first time in 1937.
Marijuana.
So
Sounds
they said,
scary,
like
doesn't it?
there is a Mexican herb that Mexicans are bringing into American land, and they're using this to seduce the
Propagandized.
white woman, and also the African Americans, or what they called it as Negroes back then.
Right.
So they're using this to rape the American woman and all of these things. So it was heavily propagated in the national media. They made movies called Reefer Madness. If you watch this, it's so funny, you know, like you'll just flip out. All you stoners out there, you know, like you guys should go back and watch this thing called the Reefer Madness.
Right.
And that's what the American government did, you know, like back in 1937, and then they took this plant away.
Right.
But the rest of the world, they still had an opportunity to grow the plant, and people still had the opportunity to use it. So what they did was in 1961, they created a single convention on narcotics, and they pulled 76 countries together and forced everyone to prohibit certain substances. And included in those things with many dangerous drugs, they included things like cannabis, psilocybin, LSD, DMT, all of these things, and then they said, all your countries, you have to ban all of these things. If you guys want support from America, and you guys have to take
classified
this away. So
in the same categories as cocaine, as heroin, all
exactly.
of that. All
so
of that.
Things that can kill you, you know, like cannabis was taken away and then put it into.
So a man basically trying to, you know, enjoy his Sunday or Saturday night, you know, after work, just chilling at home safely, you know, no dangers, could potentially be thrown in jail for some 20 years, bro.
And yeah, the war on drugs did a very, very, very bad damage in America, you know, like millions of people arrested for just having a joint.
And of course,
you know, like most of the war on drugs was actually targeted towards it's a racist.
Yeah, of
it's
course.
a racist prohibition actually.
It was targeted towards black communities, black American communities at the time, you know, at least in the States.
But
the reason why they did that is, you know, actually to recruit more people in the prison system. Because if you look at it, the prison system uses prisoners as cheap labor.
Yes.
$1 an hour is what people are paid in a country where $7 to $8 to $9 an hour is what they should be paid minimum wage. $1 is what they get, even less if you're a prisoner. So you know you could send a prisoner to do the unwanted jobs that nobody wants to do.
Yeah. And also,
that's what they did.
One of the things, you know, like the prohibition of this plan had a very, very big, ambitious motive and an agenda behind this. Few corporations who are behind all of these things.
Right.
It can eradicate the entire use of fuel for us.
Right.
And you know, this plant is against the entire big oil industry. It can eradicate most of the pharmaceutical drugs. So it's a threat to the pharmaceutical industry.
So please explain to us how cannabis can be used to eradicate the petroleum industry and eradicate, you know, forestry even.
For example, you know, like you can use the stock of the plant to make ethanol, and which you can run as a fuel. And also you can use the seeds of the plant and mix it with the ethanol at a perfect ratio to make biodiesel.
Okay.
So when you're making biodiesel, it's like you're growing a plant and you're making biodiesel from it and then using it. Whereas as compared to, you know, like the big oil industry, which is taking all the crude oil from the earth, burning it and then releasing it in the atmosphere, which is creating this huge amount of carbon in our atmosphere.
Amount of solid carbon turning into gaseous carbon.
Yes, and that's what's, you know, like also it's a leading factor for global warming.
Of course.
Our use of oil. Whereas when we grow this plant on a mass scale across the world, the plant absorbs the carbon from the air. And then all the carbon is stored in the stocks, which we can convert into fuel. Of course. And then use it in our vehicles. So it creates a carbon neutral system for the first time. And this is even better than the electric car industry because electric cars usually run on lithium batteries and other things.
And to produce
lithium mining is again, it has its own damages actually.
To produce the lithium batteries in, you know, a lot of electric cars is equivalent to running a car for 7 years. All environmental damage calculated together. Which is a lot for sure. You know, if you can run an electric car for longer than 7 years, that's when you get the value of it, you know, in terms of saving the environment. But up until that point, it's still harmful to the environment. So that's something to consider.
As I was saying, it's against the big oil industry, it's against the pharmaceutical industry, it's against the textile industry. You know, you can
it's basically an enemy to big mega corporations.
Definitely, man. And one of the biggest factors is, again, let's not forget that this plant really makes a person think. Which is the biggest threat to those who want to control the world, you know, like it makes a person think, and it connects people, it unites people, and it brings out the warrior spirit in them. And
so let me ask you something. So now that we know, you know, cannabis can do this. Cannabis, you know, not just for human consumption. You know, there's a lot of byproducts that you can produce with the plant. What's the next step? How do we, you know, implement this? How do we implement this better solution?
The first thing is to eradicate the taboo. You know, like people need to stop thinking of ganja and then thinking that it's a very bad drug, or thinking bhang, like as a very bad thing. Like the first thing is to eradicate the taboo in our mind and educate ourselves with there are plenty of materials available online.
Right.
The second thing would be to educate the governments and then make them understand that this is not just you undoing one of your worst moves that you have done against humanity.
Right.
This is also, you're also one of the biggest stakeholder in this entire game, because the way this plant is going to generate the economy
For sure.
in all of the industries, about 50,000 applications to create, and all of the applications that it can create, all the economy is going to flow down to the agricultural sector at the end of it. Right now, most of the products that we, like for example, all the oil that we use, where is the money going to? It's going outside.
Of course.
All the pharmaceutical drugs, where is the money going to? It's going outside.
Right.
So when we can use this plant here in India, the pharmaceutical industry, we become one of the leading exporters of cannabis medicines, because it's also part of our Ayurvedic system. Our Ayurveda spoke about cannabis as, they called it as the Vijaya plant. And it's been used, again, as I said, throughout Indian
for spiritual
history,
purposes, medicinal purposes, all purposes.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's recognized as a medicinal plant 3,500 years ago.
Right.
But when Indian government wanted to prohibit the plant, no one raised the question that cannabis is being prohibited. Cannabis belongs to India. It's an indigenous crop.
Right.
And it is also a medicinal crop. It's it belongs to Ayurveda. They've spoken very highly about this plant in the Vedas. So none of the discussions happened. The plant was just taken away from us in 1985, just like that. And
That's cold.
And 35 years of prohibiting the plant, arresting thousands of people, destroying the lives of families all across India, raging a war against cannabis, and even now,
Because we had a big agricultural economy sustaining on cannabis, right?
Yeah, just last year, think about this, the whole thing about the Sushant Singh Rajput case, and how they tried to blame it all on cannabis.
Right.
And they were all threatened about something.
Of course.
Because just few months before that incident, the Delhi High Court accepted the plea that we had filed from our organization. For the first time in 35 years, the government accepted that Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court.
The Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court accepted a plea.
The plea that cannabis can be legalized, and there comes the entire threat to all of these industries. So I don't know who's running these media organizations, these news organizations, this very lame commentary that they place around cannabis as though it's a very dangerous thing, that it's coming down back to the society to haunt us, to destroy the lives of society. None of this is
I
going
really
to
hope
happen.
that people are able to understand that it's not just, a bunch of people trying to smoke weed, trying to legalize this. There's real economic, even repercussions if we don't.
Yeah.
Because sustainability, that matters. Our planet matters, where we live
If
matters.
you don't legalize it now, look at what's happening. America was the country which prohibited the use of cannabis, and then they forced every other country to prohibit. Now they're the one who are legalizing it. They're the ones who are setting up the research. They're the one who are setting up the industry. They're the ones who are setting up the export line. Now, we're gonna lose out on a lot of these things, and again, pharmaceutical drugs made through cannabis will be imported into India, as against us being able to freely grow it in our own home and use it if we need it. It's not even an addictive thing. Coffee is more addictive than cannabis, and sugar is more addictive than cannabis. Rice is more addictive than cannabis. How about any of you guys can challenge yourself to go sleep in the night peacefully for 30 days without consuming rice? Yeah, so rice is really addictive. People in India cannot sleep if they do not consume rice. And they do not consider any of these things they don't take any of these things into consideration. And now the biggest addiction right now in this world that's going on is not even drugs. It's these social media platforms. The Facebook, the YouTube, the Instagram, the TikTok, continuous scrolling for hours.
There's some mad science behind this. There's some dopamine feedback loops that, they're engineered.
Destroying the life.
You know how sometimes you'll see a homie like the post, and that'll incentivize you to like a post. It'll show you more similar posts. Some crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. But you know what? With that being said, I think we should thank this gentleman over here. He has made a lot of strides. He has sent a plea to the Delhi High Court, which they have accepted to legalize cannabis, which is amazing. So give him a round of applause, y'all.
Not just claps, you have to take your initiatives to go back and, visit our website, the Great Legalization Movement, glm.org. It's very simple. Great Legalization Movement, India. Type it up on Google, you'll get all the materials, take all of the things that's there on our website, print it, Have a discussion with your family, have a discussion with your friends, share all of these things on your platforms, and then share it to your mom and dad also, because they're also brainwashed about the fact that cannabis is prohibited. But most of the brainwashing comes through the movies, guys. Like we've all seen those movies where the police comes and catches the criminals and they open a briefcase and they say, oh, brown sugar, oh, ganja, it's a bad thing. And then that's where the brainwashing began in India. And even today, the journalism in India is so bad that despite all of the available scientific evidence and growing legalization movement across the world, no one wants to talk about the good things about cannabis, but they still want to, keep taking money from whichever big corporation and they keep writing shit about cannabis everywhere. So you guys play a very important role in creating a ripple effect.
Definitely.
What we have done can be done. If you don't like something in the society, also go back and change it, fight for it, research, and then create a community around it and change.
This ain't just about cannabis alone.
There's so many things.
This is about the freedom to live your fullest life. That's all it is.
Definitely.
With that, I would like to thank you once again.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much. Give him a round of applause, everyone.
Someone wanted to speak, actually.
For sure.
No, I was just having a few devil's advocate questions. If you're up with that, can we do that? Do we have time? Yeah. Okay, cool. So, Mr. Vicky, I'm just going to play a role play here, okay? I'm going to be a politician who's giving a shit about my people, about the GDP, about the money I'm making on the table and the money I'm making below the table. So, why do I have to legalize this thing which is completely unnecessary? You want to get high, go fucking drink. You want to have a good time with friends, just go and drink and smoke. Why should I legalize something that will definitely affect a lot of office places? That's gonna, how we were talking about cigarettes before they were legalized. Like, oh, it's a bad thing. And now it's legal and people smoke it day and night, day in, day out. We smoke it throughout the day.
Cigarettes were never branded as a bad thing ever. If you go back into advertisement history, they always said cigarettes was a really good thing for you. You have to smoke it. You have to give it to your husband to smoke cigarettes. Go back to the advertisement campaign of cigarettes.
So cigarettes are good. Cigarettes are good. So cigarettes are good.
And no, so the country is not run by the politicians or what one man thinks actually, this country is a very sacred thing, the democracy works in a different way. The judiciary is there to protect the fundamental rights of all the citizens. Alright, so we go back to what we call as our right to life. If the government can do anything that is against the right to life, we have the right to question it. And that's where we have taken that, how is it that you, the government, the selected representatives of the people, can decide something that it's bad and then take it away from us?
Because I've seen people being lazy on board. They don't do any work. They're just sitting there. They're just not doing anything. They're just whatever. Then how will offices run? How will people come out on the roads and do stuff?
And
this thing just makes people lazy.
I have seen people who work for hours and hours, who are creative, who invent things, who create amazing things, who think out of the box, who are lively, who love life. There's always two sides for every coin. And even if you take cannabis away, that guy probably will still be lazy as hell. In fact, if laziness can be destroyed by anything, it can be destroyed by cannabis. How about that? Because once he smokes a joint, he gets an idea, he wants to write a song, he wants to write a poem, he wants to make a movie, he wants to go here, he wants to go there.
But I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about people who have to lift one rock and keep it here, who just has to do that day in, day out, day in, day out. Just tell him to do that job, let him do that job. Why give him all this and give him creative thoughts? Screw him, let him just do that job.
The thing is, nothing is happening. Even now, all of those people still have access to it. All of those things, people are still buying it in black, and when they're buying it in black, they're getting really, really, really bad chemical infused ganja and other things, which is more dangerous to health. Might as well just legalize it and create a $300 billion economy around just cannabis every year. $300 billion. I can challenge the Indian government right now. My analytics is right. I've been researching about this plan for 11 to 12 years, I've gone all the way from the state government, still the Prime Minister's office, to try and discuss all of these ideas, and then $300 billion is a possible thing every year.
But what if my son, comes with fake ID, goes to ganja shop and buys ganja with fake ID? What will you do then?
The thing is,
how will you
after legalization, you'll be able to grow it in your own bedroom. So forget about using Aadhaar card to buy cannabis outside. The government, you know how things work in India, right?
No.
Alcohol shops open at 6 a.m. Cannabis shops can open at 4 a.m. because, Shiva Prasad, get it at 4 a.m. and then sit in meditation and do your yoga at 6 a.m. Why not?
You had me a $300 billion industry, bro. You should have just said that in the first one. We'll be like, okay, go ahead and do it.
You know, with those $300 billion industry, we can completely
No, definitely, yeah.
change
For
the
sure,
entire
for
way
sure.
India is being run, and that's just nothing. You know, like $300 billion is only the flower thing that I was talking about. The entire economy of cannabis, and cannabis as a medicinal crop and as an industrial crop, is $3 trillion a year for India.
India?
$3 trillion a year. Hey.
Okay.
You know how
Shit,
many
that's
acres
bad,
we
bro.
have? 500 million acres in India.
Growing
500 million acres. You know the value of 1 acre of ganja cultivation, 50 crores.
Just for like scientific reasons, where are these acres exactly? Like, you know, which parts of India? Is
All
asking
across
for-
India. 500 million acres of arable land.
Okay.
Arable
okay.
land, which means we can.
Nice.
It's ready to cultivate. My economics to give it to the Indian government when I proposed, I took only 10% of the Indian available arable land space, and that can generate up to $3 trillion in economy every year.
Let me also mention a fun random fact, which is that Tamil Nadu drinks more than Germany per person, which is nuts. And you know, alcohol has been proven to be a poison. As much as we enjoy it, you know, it's a fun poison,
Also
but it is a poison.
Also damages the health. Also damages
the
our
liver,
liver.
kidney.
Also damages our consciousness. Let's
Yep.
begin with that. It makes a person fundamentally violent,
Yep.
and it keeps the consciousness of a human mind in a very primitive stage.
The reason
Still
why I
sticking
ran-
out for desires of physical touch or physical, eating things or consuming, like. Having a property, possession, still very primitive desires, like people who consume alcohol, they're pretty much stuck over that.
Right,
And
right.
where will they get to the awakened state, man?
Habitually consume alcohol. Those who habitually consume alcohol.
They're really, like if you read the statistics of behind alcohol, like 40% of the Indian population is now chronic alcoholics, which means they
That's
cannot
nuts.
stop drinking even for one single day, otherwise they go crazy.
I have a quote. Snoop Dogg famously once said, you take a bunch of people who hate each other, like hate each other. You give them a bunch of booze, one man's leaving dead. You give a bunch of people who hate each other a joint and you spin it around, they're going to be talking at the end of that. And that's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
Also, guys, this one thing I wanted to point out. I don't like this alcohol versus weed kind of
Yeah,
thing.
for sure,
It's
for
kind of
sure.
stupid every time we bring it up. It's not even meant to happen. Alcohol in its limitations in balance form
Absolutely.
is amazing.
Hey, how is it that you can drink an entire bottle of Jack Daniels and then I smoke an entire joint and we can have a conversation later?
It's like that. I get it. I can still have a conversation with you, but I get where you're coming from. It's not a generalized thing. But
Okay,
yeah,
what about waking up the next day?
yeah, 100%. I'm gonna get all that. But I'm not for bashing one substance. to
No,
another,
it's not.
That's
It's
all.
unhealthy is unhealthy still. Unhealthy. If
Inaccessible-
if alcohol was healthy in any way, I would be all up for it.
Different strokes for different folks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I remember
Thank you
seeing
so
your
much,
post
y'all.
like
Thank you
5
so
years
much.
back.
Thank you for
Alright,
tuning in.
blue t-shirt.
Give one a round of
Thanks,
applause,
guys, yeah.
please. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Yeah, Vicky Arora is actually a huge guy, man. I remember the first time I came across his name was, I think, 5 to 6 years ago. On Facebook, I see this like one boy. Right now, he looks totally different, but then he was like one boy. He had like one short haircut, he had one blue t-shirt, and those pictures of him like removing plants. And he spoke about how his mom even recovered from cancer because of this. And it was a huge story that I encountered then. And at that point in life, I didn't understand. I'm like, dude, this guy discovered something huge. Why is this not made a huge deal about? Like, what the fuck? This is a dude who's found like the key of life. And now 6 years later, I slowly understand why we're not talking about it yet. And now I'm starting to understand why surveys, because we're all keeping mum about it. So just remember this conversation. The next time you see someone being ignorant about it, maybe have the patience to talk to them about it, educate them. Don't shun them down, just talk to them about it.
And you
Ease
know-
people into it, and that's all that we can all do. We can all take little steps everywhere that
And
we
if
go.
you yourself, are fixed against, cannabis legalization, I'm so glad that you took the time to, keep an open mind and listen to what this man had to say about it. So thank you all. Thank you so much.
And yes, please follow the Great Legalization Movement online in all the platforms. Thank you everybody. Thank you for your time. That's the best thing you can give us. So with that,
With that,
we
we bring it back.